it was a tough decision about like basically life or death, right? It was like, do I stay in and grind it out and jeopardize what I've worked for so long? Or do I look at this opportunity to live, take care of myself, get stabilized?
I get it.
And then,
man.
you know.
Hey guys, so this is a really, for me, this is a really special opportunity because I get to, share some coffee with another Marine Raider and Recondo, Mr. Cody Alford, who just is officially leaving the unit tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Congratulations,
Thank
dude.
you.
Yeah. How's that feel?
Super pumped.
Super pumped.
Yeah.
And you guys know in the 7 stages transition, that's stage 2. In the 7-stage transition, it's pretty much all downhill from out there until you get to stage 7. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Yeah, man. Like, it's awesome. I got a text from you, and you're like, hey, I'm in town. You wanna hang out? I was like, yeah, I want to hang out, but we're gonna get to work. First of all, what do you think of this coffee?
Dude, I think this coffee's actually great. I mean, it's very cliche, right? To say like, oh, this coffee's great, but it's really refreshing, and it's no creamer, no sugar. It's just nice.
Nice,
and it's
black.
it's just about 820.
Yeah,
I just feel good.
It's and it's a nice little plug for Raiders Roast too. Two Raiders having a cup of Raiders Roast.
Are we gonna do a roast right now?
So, what do you have going on, man? What's the deal?
How much, man?
What's the plan?
So I retire tomorrow. And
How many years?
So it'll be 15 years and like 5 months.
I just want to say, like, when I found out that you were retiring, I was a little pissed.
Yeah,
my hope, like, I got out, but I didn't want other people to get out because I wanted what's best for the community and for MARSOC, because I truly care about the unit.
Absolutely.
Whether they care about me or not is regardless. And the reason why I care is because I care about the men, and having guys like you get out hurts, because you potentially were on track to run that command.
I mean, I like to think so. So I've been at E8 for 3 years now. So 3 years and 5 months actually, and so I'm super ahead of like the power curve in regards to like having the rank to get promoted.
Right.
And I always wanted to be a master guns because I wanted to one day hopefully take over the unit. And as I progressed in like my seniority, I just realized that those chances were few and far between. And why that is because it's not about performance, it's about seniority.
Yeah.
And since I'm so junior, even though I've done like all the pinnacle billets that you have to get promoted or to like move to the next level of leadership, I'm still super junior in regards to like my peers who haven't even done those things. Most of my peers. And I was super sad it was a tough decision about like basically life or death, right? It was like, do I stay in and grind it out and jeopardize what I've worked for so long by becoming just that guy who's kind of like not milking the system, but kind of like just riding that wave out till I hit 20 years, where I might cut a corner or slack by taking care of the troops, which is why I'm actually there.
Yeah.
Or do I look at this opportunity to live, take care of myself, get stabilized?
I get
it, and then had to make a tough decision, and I broke it down on a different level, right? Because I think it's very easy to like look at things at like just the cover of the book, right? But I like to look at second order effects and kind of pull back that onion. And I told myself, I'm like, dude, I love this community so much. That's why I've stayed in so long. I mean, my team time has been done, dude,
But it's great.
Yeah. However, at the end of the day, if best case scenario, I can only stay in 30 years. And when I looked at the next 15 years of my life, potentially before any of this medical stuff, I thought to myself, like, man, there's always going to be those issues. And I can only give the guys so much. And then at the end of the day, at 30 years, I have to physically walk away.
Well, yeah, and I tell that people don't realize that, but like the end comes for us all, whether it be 10 years or 30 years. That life is going to end for you.
Absolutely, man.
And then that community is gone. And like, you've got to figure out who you want to be when you grow up, whether it be at 10 years or 30 years or whatever. Like, there's a whole life to be lived. And if you don't figure that shit out, at some point it's gonna bite you in the ass. And I get we've talked. I know all the reasons why you're getting out, and it's very similar to mine as well. It was a selfish thing on my part to watch you continue to grow and go, fuck yeah, dude, Cody's gonna run the unit, which would have been awesome. But it would have been awesome for everybody else, not necessarily you.
And I was willing to make that sacrifice. I knew the jobs weren't going to be fun and luxurious as I hopefully obtain that rank one day and that position to be in charge of MARSOC. And I was totally fine with that. But then this whole medical stuff started happening,
hard, man.
And then that's just when I had no drive to I'm not gonna say I didn't have drive to live because I love life. I just had no drive for life, basically, and that obviously affected my work environment.
Well, you and I kind of came up at exactly the same time, and you started having issues right when I started having issues. It was just, and actually a lot of our buddies did. We all kind of hit that wall at around that 12-year mark.
See, that's the thing I think people take for granted, and it's definitely hard now, but it's one of those things that you pay the price now for a more fruitful, healthier organization than letting it ride out, and then we're sacrificing dudes as they transition, if they even make it to a transition date.
Right.
Because I've noticed this huge paradigm shift between the 12 and 15-year mark where dudes just hit a wall. And
it's bad. It's dangerous.
It's super dangerous.
Yeah.
We have to understand that. I mean, as you know, the past 10 plus years, dude, we've been in armed conflict. And
do you know that that's never been? I say this a lot, and I think you've heard me speak on it. Never, we've made American history. Never have we been in sustained combat for over a decade in an all volunteer force doing multiple combat tours. So the biggest one since then was Vietnam,
right? But
that was a draft service, and I would say the majority of people did one pump. If they survived, they went the fuck home.
And fair enough, man.
And that was and fair enough. But now we've got this generation, our generation, that went to multiple theaters of combat, volunteered for multiple deployments. Yeah. I mean, you guys got Aaron Torian that had 7 freaking deployments before he was killed in action overseas as a team leader. I have 5 myself. I mean, you're pushing what, 7?
7 deployments, yeah.
Yeah. So that's not been done before. This is the first that we've ever done that since the inception of America. And
what people forget too, in the Marine Corps, we do 6-month-ish rotations. But back in the day, during after the invasion, as we started progressing, you're still doing 7-8 month deployments because you're getting extended because campaigns.
Well, we pushed 9. Yeah, we were doing 9 months in Afghanistan.
They're campaigns for a reason.
Yeah, right.
It's hey, you're the only dudes here, or you're the only guys that kind of know the lay of the land. Sorry, you're here for another 30 days. You're I just want to go back on ship and buy the food.
So, you look at, if I look at this from a long period of time, let's look at Vietnam and the fallout, right? The second and third order effects of the veterans in Vietnam were horrendous, and they still are horrendous, right? And granted, they didn't have the support that we and the organizations that we have now. But if we just look at that as a snapshot of a draft service, and then one deployment that and rightfully so, that changed the course of America. What is the second and third order effects of what we've just accomplished? What is 10 years, 20 years, 30 years down the road look if we don't get ahead of some shit?
And that's the thing too, man. We've been going so hard, and dude, I mean, look back. So my first deployment was 2004, and that was when we did the Fallujah push, and little bitty city. Most people never heard of it, but I mean, just think about it.
A nice summer vacation spot.
Yeah, dude. I got shot in the damn helmet, dude, and I was out. Medicine I received was a Motrin and a cigarette.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was
Did you need something more?
I don't know. Maybe the throwing up and the convulsing, I guess, wasn't enough to get a Band-Aid.
Right.
I just wanted a Dora Explorer Band-Aid, But I mean, and then we had no tourniquets. You know what I'm saying? There was even the medicine on the battlefield was very limited, and our education was limited. And what I guess what I'm trying to get to is you were forced to just suck it up, right? You bandage what you can, you push forward, you complete the mission, right? Mm-hmm. You reset, regroup, and redo it again.
And you have to at that point.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But even take that back into a garrison mode, right? I mean, even the medicine or the care, hey, my back hurts, here's Motrin. Hey, my feet hurt, I have trench foot in School of Infantry, here's Motrin. You know what I'm saying? That's all you received, and not dogging any the naval medicine or the corpsmen at the time, but that's just what our education was. So now
at the time.
Yeah. And that culture, as it grows up, it's the same breed. We're like, man, I remember when I was in boot camp, I had blisters. They told me to suck it up. Well, so now I'm like a 21-year-old reconnaissance Marine, and I have blisters again. I'm not going to tell anyone because when I said it before, I was told to suck it up, you know? So, like, we kind of do it to ourselves because we've been institutionalized. So basically just, like, you know, adapt, overcome, persevere.
Because we're tough guys, right?
We're tough guys, and that ego, which I completely believe in a healthy ego, not an over ego, but I believe in a healthy ego because that keeps you alive, it keeps you motivated, it keeps you confident, and it keeps you pushing forward.
100%.
But however, we have
that's how we make it.
That's how we make it. But at times we let that ego kind of consume our world and that's how we identify ourselves with the job, and that's when we lose sight of who we are as human beings. And then when it comes to like actually getting your stuff more, I guess, more important than really just your feet having blisters or, you know, a headache here and there. How do you cross that? How do you bridge that gap? You know, it's so much harder if a dude won't talk or gal won't talk about their feet hurting. How are they gonna talk about their insides hurting, their head, maybe their stomach, ulcers they get?
They won't. Yeah, they won't. I mean, you and I both know we buried that shit for years.
100%, bro.
Yeah.
I'm like, how much beer do I drink? I drink two beers maybe a month. Oh, perfect.
That's because that fits in your little bubble. That's okay. Yeah, that's acceptable, right?
If you I drink 2 beers a week, you're an alcoholic and you go talk to somebody. Yeah. If you don't check on the box that says you eat 12 cups of vegetables a day, they put you.
And what's
like,
funny is they think that like if you don't think team guys don't know the right answers, come on, bro, we're pros.
We are the best. If you become a master liar and a master adapter by lying and adapting to yourself.
Well, I mean, think about it. We're trained to do that.
Absolutely.
Like we go to courses to. I wouldn't say lie, but tell half-truths.
Deception. Is that an appropriate term? But it's not even that. It's not just like, you know, how to lie. It's just we learn how to interact in the environment that we were handed.
So that we can keep doing our job.
So we can keep doing our job and we can make it on top.
Yeah.
You know, by saying morally and ethically, you know, fucking righteous and all this stuff. But it's just... when it comes to us, we're like, oh, man, if I put this down, I know I'm going to lose a clearance. I'm going to lose this school seat. I'm going to lose this job opportunity. Or, you know, look at the younger
They're
guys.
going to pull me out of my team.
Yeah, I want to go to – I've never been to the X country, and if I say this, I'm not going to get to go. And,
that's it.
You know, it's just – and we're jaded by these small little trinkets, you know, whether it's like, man, if I do that, I'm not going to be able to go diving anymore. I'm like, bro, you dive once a year anyway for pay. Like, what are you missing out on? But – we allow those small things, those small wins. And another thing, too, I think that keeps us from like getting that help is that there is no love. There is no appreciation in the military. At least I can't speak of the military as a whole, but the Marine Corps, from the reconnaissance community, especially MARSOC, like no one's like, bro, you're doing a kick butt job, bro.
Oh, absolutely not.
And
so I do that now. Like as I'm out, if I see a dude, I'm like, dude, you guys like. Because I know they're not getting any love from their commands or from their family. So I'm like, hey, bro, you're a fucking badass and you're doing a kick-ass job.
And we don't need that affirmation. But at the same time, too, like just how we don't give like, hey, congratulations. We also really don't give like, there's not like a, hey, man, you're slacking. It goes straight from like, you suck to like, I guess you did okay, but you haven't been in the unit long enough or you already got one award for 6 years.
I like to think of it like we're like, you know how that you're that kid and then like you really want your dad to say good job, so you like really work hard.
Oh yeah.
And then your parent just never says good job. He's like, "Meh, you could have done better." And it like crushes your whole word. You're like, "But I just graduated honor grad." Yeah, well, your scores could have been 2 points higher, really.
Yeah, I think my dad learned that a long time ago when I was younger, when we used to play like catch outside, because like all I wanted to do going in high school was play baseball. It was like
I remember that
the cool sport to play. I never played it, right? Balls flying in my face, scary. I couldn't hit for shit, and I can't throw to save my life. Well, I remember being outside my yard one day playing toss with my dad. You remember the little mitt with like the Velcro in the ball?
Yeah.
And I'm throwing it, and my dad said, "Good job, son." I got so excited that he said good job. I ended up throwing it like with my third hand with no eyes, and it like hit a car across the street, and he's like, "We're done." And my dad wasn't a dick, but he's like, maybe that was a life lesson, and that, you know, it kind of like grew with me because, you know, sometimes, and I understand too, if you tell me like, "Hey man, you guys are doing good," maybe you'll get that cockiness, so that ego goes past healthy to dangerous. And you could potentially start slipping or slacking, but nonetheless, like there's none of that, and there's no communication. There's minimum communication, and when we suffer in all those aspects of those pillars, when you break it all down, the institution, the organization, all that type of stuff, you have the individual, you have the user,
the human being.
The human being.
So
it's a weird concept.
Yeah.
no matter how much Gucci stuff you put on you, like enough multicam silk all you want
take
to.
all that, you strip it all away.
You're in the birthday suit, baby.
Yeah, you're just a dude.
You got some stuff buried deep down inside, whether it's pain, illnesses, or just stuff you need to decompress, and it's sad. I think we're making plenty of strides. Like MARSOC's doing a great job now not identifying it, because they've always identified it. But it's people are slowly beginning to make the effort to go be seen by these professionals, because they all exist. But it sucks because people laugh at these organizations. They laugh at these nonprofits. They laugh at these benefits, clinical benefits we have at work. They're like, man, those are for the admin guy or something ego stupid, right?
Right.
But they laugh because they've never used it, and they're like, those guys don't do anything but take up space.
Well, and I think that's one of the reasons why I was really stoked that you were getting to the position that you were, because somebody that understood it, and then also wouldn't look down on a guy. You want to take care of the guys, and that's the biggest thing, is at the highest echelons of removing a stigma and making sure that, okay, so if I take care of this guy at 12 years, well, that means if I get him some treatment and get him take care of the human being, well, then he can operate until 20.
No, absolutely.
If he's happy, you know what I mean? Instead of just saying, no, fucking here's your Motrin, suck it up there, team dude, and then, move the fuck on.
Dude, I remember looking at some of these E9s that when I was, and once again, dude, I've been an E8 for a long time. I mean, to me, 3 years is the longest time to have that rank at least. And I remember when I was telling dudes, hey, man, I need a knee, bro. I need a break. I need to go to this clinic. I just want to get checked out. Cody, we all have issues. Suck it up. 5 more years. Cody, you know the trick to getting promoted? I'm like, what's that? And I'm just playing with them. I'm like, what is it? Get a haircut, put a uniform on. I'm like, that's when I knew what my value was as a human being, because I did not get a haircut, put my uniform on for 15 years and got where I was at. I got where I was at because I put out and I performed. You worked your ass off. And I took care of the troops, which is the crucial part that we miss.
I heard the same thing. Someone told me, basically they said, you know why you get so much conflict in the military? You care too much and you work too hard.
I'm like, why am I here then?
I was like, I couldn't believe that those words were coming out of somebody's mouth. I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me, man.
And it's so sad. But then, I remember I was at we did a video teleconference with our sister battalion out west, and Intrepid Spirit came down, and they talked about all these things for TBI and whatnot. And my actual doctor was like, he always calls me Master Guns, and I'll take it because I'll never get that rank in the military. He's like, I'm Master Guns Alford. You want to stand up? I'm like, sure. And I'm like, I totally don't have anxiety right now, so thanks a bunch, sir. And I'm just trying to get past the hurdle. But I basically it equates down to this. It's the shame and guilt-based culture that we have created within this organization, and I think with this, just with
it's
society.
A beaten dog syndrome.
Yeah, man, it's because you feel bad, you feel guilty for going to medical to get your boo-boo taken care of or talk to somebody about it, because you're away from your team or you're taking time off and everyone else is in the suck and you're not, right? They think you're skating. Therefore, they shame you.
Yeah.
Maybe not shame, but it's just hey, bro, when are you going to stop going to these appointments? Dude, I'm an E8 and I was dealing with that shame and guilt stuff. The people signed my packet for me to go to a 12-week program, even though I was back to work every day and I front-loaded my stuff because I'm obviously trying to be a professional about it, right? I don't have time to come 40 minutes every day and be away from work. And I'm getting hassled, hey, when are you going to stop going to these appointments? I'm like, do I need to pass out in your office even more for you to understand this is real? But what I brought up was dude, I feel bad for the sergeants, the corporals, the lance corporals, the 18, 19-year-old kids. They're not kids, the 18, 19-year-old Marines and sailors that have some issues too. And the whole thing that it takes combat to put a dude down or a girl down and that they need a break only after they've been in that stuff, that's the wrong mindset. That's a very...
No, we need to be preemptive instead of, just reacting to problems all the time.
People have lives before they hit the age of service, selection, right? Before they hit that limitation where they can actually join. But we kind of discredit that. And, so I was getting hassled as the rank that I was, but I felt so bad for the younger people that are out there that are I need help. And they're just shut up, boot, go back to doing whatever stuff it is you do.
I had my brain doctor that I went to, and I went to a brain clinic after the service, not knowing that I had issues when I got out.
Right.
And he was basically saying, and he had worked with a bunch of special operators before, and he's basically he's like, listen, this is what I'm trying to do, because it's your brain's in alignment or your timing in your car. It's like if you do maintenance on it and you check that timing belt, periodically, it's a lot easier and a lot cheaper to fix when it's, centimeters off. But you let that thing run for 5 years and then the freaking thing snaps. Well, that's an expensive job. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's better to do your regular maintenance and keep these guys tuned up over the period of time than letting them run ragged for 10 years and then they crash. And now it's a lot of time and money and effort to get them back to where they should be.
But that's like everything else.
That's what you're going through now. You're just a lot of time and effort and money.
Yeah, I'm a lot of time, effort, and money. But, I definitely would say that I've had nothing but, like, massive amounts of support from my work. Like, the whole command, honestly, has been super, like, helpful with me. And, like, not only in transitioning.
Well, and we've learned a lot of hard lessons now. And it's exciting to see moving forward now that, if we ever redo a decade-long conflict like you and I did, I only hope that we've learned from this and our support structure is kind of stays in place of what it is now and even gets better. But
it really, I think those things will always advance, right? And be exactly what the guys and gals need. It's the guys and gals that need to adapt. And
so what are you saying? Basically, don't stand up and take care of yourself?
You need to.
Yeah.
You need to. And so the help network's there. So what I was getting at is like, the help networks are there. The venues are there. It's just that people have to get past that stigma of like, I'm afraid to go ask for help. I'm afraid to bring up stuff because I'm afraid I'm going to lose X, Y, or Z or not get this opportunity.
Yeah.
We, the people, need to move past that hurdle.
Yeah, not think that you're a bitch or something like
Absolutely,
that.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. I found out in this very short time that I've actually been back from my medical treatment is that I've just been exposing myself because I'll be the scapegoat for somebody. I'll be there like, oh, crap, he's got this, so do I. And then, okay, well, if he did it, so I can do it too, right?
Right.
Like, oh, look, Nick's a Recon Marine and a Raider. Like, well, if he could do it, I can do it. Well, if that's enough to motivate people to do that, if I tell people like, hey, I have anxiety, hey, I had depression, hey, I had X, Y, and Z go wrong with me. Oh, damn, he's saying it's not a big deal and he got help. Why is Cody going to do all this stuff? Because I said I had issues. I brought it up. I took that leap. And it's that transition to investing into yourself that is the scariest thing. And once we start feeling more comfortable with ourselves and our environments and we stop the shame and guilt-based type of like microcultures that exist, and that's really just due to professionalism and really just like seeing the bigger picture of things, I think that's when we're going to be able to get those guys and girls to actually go the 30 years they want to. There's no reason why they shouldn't be able to do 30 years.
Keep that timing on the card good.
Military's a great organization. I mean, MSgT's a great organization, but we're not getting guys out. Guys are getting out because they're like, man, F this, screw this place, F this place. But what they're not understanding is that that's not a normal mindset to have. And it's not that place. It's that environment they have specifically been in. And if they can like do that proper maintenance like you talked about, dude, they might be at 20 years and be like, bro, this is the greatest run ever. Dude, I definitely got dinged up, banged up, but bro, I had a great time. I'm still healthy and functional. I haven't been going home.
Instead of leaving bitter, broken, and just, upset and hating the Marine Corps, or hating the command or something like that.
And for the people who get out that still feel that way today, I highly recommend they go get checked out by a doctor. I mean, it doesn't mean they're crazy, but it will change their perception. They'll quickly realize that, holy shit, it wasn't the military that made me so bitter. It was honestly me not allowing myself to invest in myself that has made me this way.
And I talk about that too. I did that in my speech. I was like, and I had to learn this as well. Like I was bitter and angry at the Marine Corps, and I had to realize like, okay, what is the Marine Corps' mission? To like make war fighters and go fight wars, right?
Yeah.
It's not to make Nick a good civilian.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like, so at some point, the onus and then the responsibility has to come to me. At some point, I have to take responsibility for myself and say, okay, if you want to be happy and you want to be healthy, that shit is on me. Like, it's not on the Marine Corps to make me a super happy Mr. Koumalatsos. You know what I mean? Like, that shit's on me.
Right.
At the end of the day, I mean, yeah, can they assist? Sure. But is it their actual job? No, man. It's not. And that's something I had to realize and come to grips with, that it was not their mission or their job to make sure that I was happy and, healthy civilian. It's just not. And that's the reason why there are, 501c3 nonprofits and these other organizations and these clinics, because they're helping fix the back end stuff.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's my responsibility. It's your responsibility to make sure that you have a good life. It's just like nobody owes you shit, man. And that's another thing. It's like, well, I served and I deserve this and this.
Congratulations, bro. My grandma served, you know?
You know what I mean? Like, you signed up, bro. Like, it's an all volunteer force. You signed the fucking document. Like, you volunteered. That's it.
And yeah, it's sad too. It's so sad. And what's still sad is that they're still in denial. And they still feel that like you owe me mentality.
No, you don't. You're not owed shit. And you're not entitled to anything.
That's how like a lot of these nonprofits is like. It's like wait a second. You're not the clientele that like I want to help you, but like you're just either trying to just. You're not even trying to treat yourself. You're just trying to like give me because you owe me this, and vice. Yo, dude, I'm here to like take you to the next level if you want to, because you do exactly. It here in the military. So we're here as a buffer, so you're never alone.
That's what I want. I want that dude that like he's gonna do the 50%. He doesn't even know how to get from 51 to 100, but he's like, I need help, and I'm willing to put in the work, And that's perfect. That's like, dude, I'm all in. Like I'll help you to the end of the days, man. But he's willing. An individual is willing to put in the work to like get better. We just don't know how. We don't know the roadmap. And that you can help instead of the guy that's just like, fucking give me some shit.
And that's why the toxic vet syndrome is like so rampant right now. Is because people kind of fall back and like, oh, we're gonna get together and wear these hateful shirts and say "F you liberals" and all this type of stuff.
Hard pass, bro.
Hard pass, yeah. but it's easy to fall into that niche because all those people like disgruntle, all this type of stuff, and they're just really maybe they are, and I'm not gonna like dog everybody, but I'm pretty good at that, I guess, unintentionally. But it's like they're just in denial, really, of they haven't like self-reflected, and that's like one of the crucial steps into like any of the stuff is being a good Marine, being a good person in general. Like it's that self-reflection that okay, what I do right, what I do wrong, how can I make the next steps forward? Yeah. But
so to wrap that segment up, basically, you a lot of times people don't go get help because they feel like they're being a bitch, but in reality, you're really being a bitch by not going to get help because you're like your ego's involved or you're like your prides you don't want to admit. So essentially, you're being a bitch about not admitting that you have an issue. Yeah,
and then you have to like take a step back and look at all other people you're affecting.
Because it takes balls, dude. It takes balls to say, raise your hand and say, hey, I need some help. Like that takes balls.
I mean, but break it down. I mean, just to like beat this dead horse to make sure it's completely dead. Look at all the courses you've been to.
Shoot this motherfucker in his head.
Yeah, like look at all the courses you've been to, and like for people who are in school and like not even the military that are listening to this right now, like look at all the classes you've been in, and the teacher says something, and you're like, man, and the teacher asks, does anyone have any questions? And you have a question, but you are embarrassed in a classroom setting that learning how to like basket weave, and you're embarrassed to raise your hand.
Yeah.
But somebody, either no one does, or someone raises their hand, and what does everyone else do? They jot down the information the teacher's doing to explain it, right? That's just like the military. Like, is everyone okay? Can you see me? Is that concussion jacking you up? No, bro, I'm good. And like, I'm seeing like, five different, directions, but it takes courage. And we talk about honor, courage, commitment, but
you're bringing it way back.
Yeah, dude. But we only can put that in the institutional domain, vice the human domain, where you still have to have honor, courage, commitment for yourself.
Right.
And, I mean, it took balls to sign that little dotted line to step on those footprints, but yet we forget that it took us all that courage to get to that point in life, right? That big leap of faith, that big decision in life. But when it comes to something simple as raising a hand and be like, hey, I need help. Hey, this gear is broken. Hey, can you please explain that equation because I don't understand it, Mr. Scientist guy.
Right.
Like, we're scared to do that. We're scared to interact with other human beings. But we risked it all for those yellow footprints. We had that much courage, but yet we just forgot our way in a certain aspect. So,
and you got a lot of life to live. So you do 10, 20 years in the military. You're going to live. If you live to 80, that's just a fraction of your whole life.
Yep, but it's not a fraction of your life when you just live in like depression, regression.
Oh yeah, you're basically like
you're just living. You're just biding your time.
Yeah. instead of actually experiencing.
It's a weird concept. Life is a weird concept. People are like, oh, my second go around, I'm gonna really nail this down. I'm gonna kind of like take it easy on this go around. Newsflash, people. There is no round 2, okay? I mean, unless someone knows something different, but this is all we have, you know? And
so make it count.
Make it count.
Yeah. Excellent.